Since we've added the Persona games to my roster of things to talk about on this channel, it's time I talked about the game that started the era of what many call modern day Persona, Persona 3. Or to be more specific, the re-release of the title, Persona 3 FES. I know it's FES, but it's FES to me. Like the other titles on this list, we will be covering early to mid-game tips to avoid late-game spoilers. With that said, like and sub if you want. We're trying to hit 400 and I would really appreciate it. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. Gonna have to channel my inner dab for this first ever tip. Now, throughout Persona 3's story, you will have several moments where you will have to take exams. It makes sense when you think about it. You are still a student despite saving the world from giant shadow monsters that want to kill everybody. But one thing that you can end up missing is the conversation with Mitsuru, in that if you ace your exam, she will actually give you a reward. This requires you to not only get every question right on the exams, but also have your intelligence stat near or at maximum. A daunting task of going to the game booth every day, I'm certain. However, if you do manage to ace it, go and talk to Mitsuru and she will reward you with several cards that allow you to permanently boost the power of one of your personas. It's a very useful reward that can give you a great boost early game to any particular persona you like to use. Although I should state that this seems, from what I can understand at least, that you can only do it once per playthrough. So it's up to you on when you want to try acing the exams. So I'm gonna have to go a bit more in depth with this one. So Persona 3 was without a doubt a massive game changer for the franchise, as it added several new things to the series, from the inclusion of the social link system, to making the MC be the only one to wield multiple personas, and converting it to a completely 3D landscape. But with those inclusions, there were also some things that were removed for this entry as well. You can no longer make negotiations with enemies to get you to join them, but instead relied on a sort of weird card game after battle. Guns were completely removed from the equation, along with several other abilities to, I guess, streamline it? Still don't really know why. Maybe they just wanted to make it a little different from Shin Megami Tensei, but at the same time keep it the same way. Who knows? Tell me in the comments if you know why. But the biggest, in my opinion, worst change of them all was the fact you can no longer control your party members. Instead, an AI controlled them and you would have to set how they would act in the order section of the menu. Sounds like a neat idea, sure, until you realize that the AI is some of the most brain dead you've ever seen in your life, and feels like they're actively trying to hurt you. They will constantly do stupid shit like cast spells that won't work on your enemies due to it either being resistant or just straight up not needed, or healing characters who have taken barely any damage instead of focusing on the characters who do need it. It gets insanely frustrating, but I won't go deeper into it, maybe for a later video. But anyways, what's the tip beyond all of this nonsense? Okay, so two things. One, you need to be prepared to basically just carry the team and do all of the work yourself, because you cannot rely on your teammates. And you can make the experience slightly less of a gigantic pain in the ass by using the team orders options to command your party members to do what you want them to. They will still do some insanely stupid stuff, but it's slightly less so. That's gotta count for something, right? Right? Alright, let's get into how you get the best weapons in the game. There are more than a few ways to get weapons in Persona 5, so you can equip them onto your team. There are about, I'd say, maybe 3 or 4? Well, anyways, there's a pretty good amount. You can either buy them from the police station. Yeah, I know, it's weird to say that in 2023, just go with me. Complete some of Elizabeth's various requests, find them in the Tartarus dungeons, or do what we're going to focus on, and that's visit the Shinshodo antique shop to fuse personas into weapons. Now, to attempt this, you need to do a couple of things first. First is you need to find what is called a blank weapon. Those are usually found throughout your travels through Tartarus. So good luck on that. They're not the hardest thing in the world to find, but they can still take a little bit of time to get your hands on. And second is to, well, have a persona. Once you have those two things, just go to the antique shop and have the shopkeep make the weapon by fusing the blank weapon with the persona of your choice. Once you do that, you will start gaining access to stronger and stronger weapons. The more powerful the persona, the better the weapon stats. And for a little extra oomph, if you gain a persona that has a little heart symbol on it, you can bring this to the antique shop and they will use it to create a better weapon than normal. Also, adding on to this, you can also use the antique shop to create better versions of armor, along with using special gems that you find in the Tartarus Tower to unlock cards to improve your persona stats. I was gonna originally dedicate this to both weapons and armor, but teaching people how to hit things harder is honestly more fun to talk about than just telling them how to get the best armor. What, sue me. Alright, time to teach you how to break the combat wide open. Little fun fact, Persona 3 was the first game in the entire series to introduce what is now known as the all-out attack mechanic. It's a mechanic that is achieved by knocking down every enemy in battle through the use of spells and random critical hits. That allows you to gather up your team and go all out for one big damage number. It's a certainly fun mechanic, sure, but what if I told you there's an even better, more broken mechanic hidden underneath it? You see, unlike Persona 4 and 5, the enemies in Persona 3 have to sacrifice a turn in order to stand back up. This is only ignored if you hit them with an attack. So, as long as you don't attack any of your downed enemies, and just completely skip over every time you're offered an all-out attack, you can basically create an infinite loop of landing hits, and forcing the shadows to sacrifice a turn to get up. This trick makes several of the tower climbing bosses far less of a hassle to deal with in comparison to just knocking them down and spamming all-out attacks. Man, imagine if this also worked on the full moon bosses. That would be downright hilarious in my opinion. But it doesn't. It only really works on the normal floor bosses. Damn shame. You can't make Akihiko wait on those bosses, but you can certainly make him wait on these ones. Alright, now it's time to teach you yet another game-breaking mechanic. 2 for 1, I know. Quite the spectacle for someone as lazy as me. And that is how insane the fusion spells are in this game. So, fusion spell attacks are special spell attacks that surprisingly don't show up in pretty much any other Persona game after 3. I think the only other time I've seen it is in Persona 2? I haven't played a lot of that game yet. Definitely should get back to it at some point. It's pretty fun. Anyways, I'm getting off track here. Fusion spells are obtained by having 2 specific personas in your party. There isn't really a massive amount of these, but what they make up for their lack of fusion attacks in the game, they more than make up for in their straight up usefulness. They have a variety of abilities that go from knocking down all the enemies, to healing everyone in your party, to even dealing the max level of damage to all enemies on the battlefield. And while it can be kind of a pain to have to give up 2 spots in your party in order to use just one spell, along with several of these spells requiring a large amount of SP to use, their incredible power and resourcefulness more than make up for it. Also, fun little fact about this. If you own a copy of Persona 3 FES guide and all, if you look into the guide you get with the game, you actually get to see several of the spells you get to use through your Persona combos. It's a cool little addition that I don't really see people talk about enough. I kind of miss when games had those guides, if I'm being honest. You know what? Let's start a movement. I want you all to type #BringBackGameManuals in the comment section below. Let's start this, baby. And with that, the video is finished. Thank you all so much for seeing this through to the end with me. Sorry if the last one wasn't as impressive as you were hoping. I tried to include a few extra things to make it a little cooler to hear. And for those who have missed it, we're getting back to the Kingdom Hearts stuff next week. I've kind of missed making it in all honesty, and we're getting back to the tips and tricks stuff with it too. Hope to see you then. Like and sub if you want to keep up with the content, and I'll see y'all next time.